Welcome to Wine with Friends, where meaningful connection and thoughtful conversation are always present when we share wine intentionally. Tonight, y'all, have a very, very special guest. He is a world-renowned mixologist, bartender. He's the founder and owner of the Crunkleton, bourbon expert. I mean, put in whatever words you want. Gary Crunkleton, thanks for being here.
Yay! Thank you, Marcus.
And also, I want to say thank you for your support of this podcast. Yeah. We think the work that we're doing here is actually really important to kind of showcase, how wine can be something that connects people. And so we appreciate your support. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure.
And if I may, also, while we're here, you were talking about the rabbit hole where we are right now.
Yeah.
You've actually sponsored a handful of events that have happened here at the Rabbit Hole. So it's kind of cool to have you here for the first time.
Yeah, I've never seen them.
Your bar has been present here many a time.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. I don't want to, it's an event space, but this is nicer than my home. It's beautiful.
We have a beautiful home too.
Well, this is nice. This is nice. Hey, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Seriously.
Y'all, Marcus is a close friend. I don't know which camera to look at, but Marcus is a close friend. He's a special friend. And I hope that everyone has someone like a Marcus in their life. So thank you.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. So tell us, you got a lot of things going on right now. You got the bar in Chapel Hill, which is where we met.
Yeah.
Almost 20 years ago.
I want to tell that story too, by the way, but when the time comes.
We're ready right now.
Okay. So I'm bartending. I have a bar in Chapel Hill called the Crunkleton. It's my last name. I didn't want to call it the Crunkleton. I want it to be Hot Shots or Lucky's, Lucky Bar, or the Standard Bar.
No disrespect, but I think the Crunkleton is a little better than...
Megan and I would have people over for dinner, and then after dinner and wine, we would sit down and say, okay, I'm doing a bar. We got to figure out what to name it. And then everyone said, oh, you got to call it Crunkleton. You got to call it Crunkleton. And I didn't get it, but I said, well, okay, I'll put the in front of it, like a determiner to make it seem more nicer.
Yeah.
So that's what we decided to do based on, it was really Lauren Hunt and Bill Russell. They were the ones that were really pushing it, Megan's friends, and they were pushing it. So then I go to the marketing group, the Splinter Group, who's our marketing firm, to get a logo. And I thought we'd use the C with a circle, like the copyright sign.
Yeah.
And they said, no. With a name like Crunkleton, we got to use that as the logo.
Yeah.
So the Crunkleton started, when I started the bar. I don't know if y'all know about the bar business, but you have to be there a lot because the alcohol, it's like liquid gold. Mm-hmm. That's what the money is. Mm-hmm. And we sell it, by the ounce and a half. So if someone overpours a half ounce, that's money, out the window. So the owner needs to be there to watch over everything. I'm bartending, and Marcus comes in with 3 other guys, and they're all basketball players or managers. And they come in, and I think, Marcus, you got an extra year, I believe, didn't you? Because you broke your ankle or something.
Broke my foot.
So it was in between. I think you got an extra year, and it was before that extra year. And you came in, and Bill Russell, who I mentioned, he was your English teacher. You took an English class or a writing class. He said you're a great student, by the way. And so y'all came in, and you were going to order wine. The investor for the bar had given me his wine cellar. He had a house in Chapel Hill. He lived in Palm Beach, Florida, but he had a house in Chapel Hill. And he said, just take all the stuff out of the wine cellar and sell it. I said, well, I can't do that because it's illegal, right? But I'll take it. And there was Diamond Creek, lots of wine. Most of it was bad. Most of it had turned, or so I was told. It was because I'd give it away, and they would say, "Oh, it was bad." I'd give them a case away or something, and they'd say it didn't work out. But in there was a bunch of port. So I had some ports from the 70s and 80s, and you came in, and you were going to order some wine, and I said, I've got some stuff that's really special. Let me go down and get it. So I went to the basement, and I got it. And then y'all drank this port. I don't think we finished the bottle.
I don't think so either.
I don't think we finished the bottle. But I just remember it being a proud moment because when I was younger, I drank a lot. I was a big drinker. So it was about quantity. But as I got older, now that I'm older, it's about quality. So here are these young guys coming in and wanting to experience some wine, and I turned them into port, which is popular. But it's delicious. It's really rich and robust and delicious, and it gives you a buzz. So I was proud of that. I like teaching the students over at UNC how to drink and what to drink.
Sure.
I think that's important.
Well, I think that's a perfect little segue here. You talked about quality over quantity.
Quality over quantity.
Yeah. We're going to see how we do here with this 1988 Chateau Moussard. If you don't mind, I'd love to open this for us.
Open it up.
And you and I have an interesting story about this wine. As you were bidding on this wine not too long ago, and we were in close contact while you were doing so. What do you know about Chateau Moussard?
So I used to work for Jared Resnick. He started a bar in Chapel Hill called The Cave. He had this Chateau Moussard, this Lebanese wine, and we opened it, at a holiday party or something like that. And I loved it. I just thought it was just delicious. And it was esoteric too. It's off the beaten path. So it's kind of cool. When you're younger and the songs or the bands that are really hip.
Yep.
So I'm thinking like that.
Sure.
This is a delicious wine that's off the fringe. No one really knows anything about it. So we were at Leland Little
Yep.
it was a wine tasting. They were offering a wine tasting from some wine that was delicious. It was a
Schrader.
big Magnum.
Schrader. No, it was I think it was a double Magnum.
Double Magnum,
it was
big
It
bottle.
was at least a 3 liter. Yep.
So that was up for auction, and I bid on it and got a case. I won. So I told Marcus, since he was involved in all of it, I'll give you a bottle. Let's share it one time.
I love it.
So here we are.
Here we are. All right, so you said the second sip was all right, a little better.
Yeah, now I'm getting
Definitely
more heart of the grapes.
Yeah, no, I like this. And another thing too is like most people haven't had an almost 40-year-old bottle of wine, and so this is not going to taste like a California Cab that you just popped open.
Right.
That's 2 years old.
Right. That's what I'm not experienced like that.
Sometimes you might have that initial reaction of, oh, this isn't what I'm used to. Something's got to be wrong with it.
Right.
Which is interesting. I like that.
We had Opus 1. I've only had it once. And my brother brought it for Thanksgiving, and it was 1984.
Okay.
And when I drank it, I thought to myself, oh, this probably is glad. It's good that we opened it. Because I don't know if it's going to have much more time left in the bottle before it turns.
Right.
I was kind of thinking that.
Mm-hmm.
The first taste, I was thinking,
it's gone.
It's gone. Yeah, it's diluted. But now, and I have a feeling as we get lower, it's going to be even heartier.
So I just had a 1954 wine from Spain a couple weeks ago, and I was blown away by how alive the wine still was.
Yeah.
And so, it's interesting. 1988 seems like a long time ago, but if you make good wine, it's possible to age.
What is in that 50 that you had?
54.
If you had a 2000 one, how would they be different?
I would have guessed that this one was probably 30 years old.
Yeah.
Not
70.
75.
Yeah. 70. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. They're all, they all age differently. But this Rioja that I had, the 1954, I mean, it truly, again, just felt like you knew it was old. You could see some of the color wasn't there. Just like, not nearly as bad as this though.
Yeah. Now this is redder, more red or whatever. Now the first one was amber.
And you see that kind of edge around that kind of brownish hue on the outside there. That gives you another indication that it's super old. So one thing that we've been talking about recently is stories over scores. I don't know what this wine scored. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But like the story that we get to share in having thought about getting this wine together.
Right.
Sharing it right now.
Right.
We talked, before we started recording about this winery, right? And about Gaston Hochar. I hope I'm saying that name right. So Gaston Hochar started this winery in 1930.
Yeah.
He was 20 years old. He starts this winery.
In Lebanon.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening in Lebanon, but
Lebanon's been making wines for 6,000 years. And here he is as a 20-year-old. He starts a winery.
Yeah.
And then his oldest son becomes the winemaker almost 30 years later. 1959, becomes a winemaker, and he was the one that made this wine. Unfortunately, just passed away not too long ago, but his son, his oldest son, made this wine in 1988 in the middle of a civil war.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
But like that to me
There's
is
a lot of uprising.
But that to me is what's interesting about wine is like here we have this time capsule that goes back so far through so many different periods in history, and then also brings two people together in the modern day. And we had even known each other for a while, but it still is, brings us together in an even more special way. And then here we are sitting here in this beautiful place, having a great conversation and not enjoying it,
Yeah. I had heard stories about, one particular story about, I don't know if it was the father or the son, but him coming to America to peddle his wine. And at this particular conference where they were, people were talking about the weather being tough. And he was saying, yeah, the weather's been tough. You ought to try with bullets and bombs going off at the same time.
Yeah. Everybody's crying about rain and
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. God, this got, in a way, I was just thinking for a second, this come full circle. Here I was trying to teach you about port, and now we're here having this Lebanese wine, which is, you'd said too, 6,000 years. Wine, I don't know where wine was invented, but wine's in the Bible.
Yeah.
So it must have been invented in the middle, that Middle East area.
I've heard Georgia is kind of where it may have started. I'm sure there's a bunch of different stories out there, but
I'm half Armenian. My mother's Armenian.
We've been talking about this recently. I like that.
That's right there.
Yeah.
In the heart of it.
Yeah.
All the biblical stuff. It's all right there. A lot of it's right there. I'm ashamed. I don't know as much about Armenia as I should. And I'd love to be able to take my mom there.
Well, let's get back, man. Let's get back.
Yeah.
Let's go. I'm ready to go. All right. So tell me about bourbon.
Okay.
Because tell me how where did your love of bourbon come from? And then how does that transition you to be owner, founder of the Crunkleton?
So it's not so much that it was bourbon. When I opened the bar, my father was a big drinker, and he had a bar downstairs in our house. And I would open the cabinets and just look at all the Cutty Sark, J&B, all the different labels. And it was fascinating to me. Now, I couldn't taste any of them because my father would kill me. He wouldn't kill me, but so I was always fascinated with the labels and the spirit. And then I remember thinking, when I get older, I'm going to drink scotch. Now, at the time, we're drinking Boone's Farm, and there was Mad Dog 2020 and Boone's Farm. We're drinking that. I don't know if they still make those things.
I hope not. So I hope not.
I hope not. But, you could each get a quart of Mad Dog 2020 on a Friday night after a football game before the party, and that would do you right, that quart. And then you get to the party, and they're drinking PJ. Somebody would always have PJ at the party. And I would want to drink to overcome my shyness. I was really shy. So quantity, drink. I guess in the back of my head, I thought, I'm going to have a bar one day, and how would I design it, or what would I do with it? Just thinking. My ADHD, I could think about a ton of different things at one time. But so years and years and years of thinking about that stuff. And then the time comes when I'm opening a bar, and I wanted to create a place like you're walking in a liquor store and you see all the brands on the shelves, but at the liquor store you have to buy the bottle. I wanted to create a place where you could taste those items. So they're up there and you can taste them. And we weren't I think we're probably a better Mexican spirits bar than we are a bourbon bar. When we opened in 2008, there were probably 25 different brands you could get in North Carolina. And then I figured out a way to get special orders done. And at the time, there was probably about 150 different bourbon labels.
Okay.
9 distilleries making 150 different labels, different brands. And so a lot of them are, a lot of the distilleries are making multiple brands. Heaven Hill especially is making a lot of different brands. So I learned how I could get all those brands at the bar and through special order, through getting them coded. So if you made bourbon, I would call you and say, Marcus, I own a bar in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, the Crunkleton, and I'd like to sell your bourbon. Would you be, if I had it on the shelf, I could sell it. Would you be interested in sending it to me if I can get it coded for you? In North Carolina, all the spirits have to be coded through NCABC. And you would say yes, because you want to sell. The reason why you have it is to sell it.
Right.
And then I would say, well, you'd have to pay for the shipping because North Carolina has its rules. And I thought, that's fine, that's fine. So, and then I would go, well, we'll send whatever you'd like, and I'll buy it, and I'll put it up. So if you sent 3 cases, I would buy it. I felt like it was a Southern thing to do. Like the gracious thing to do to whatever you sent me. Since you're going through all this trouble, whatever you sent me, I would buy. So like Willet was sent 6 cases of Willet 18 and 20 year. It was like $5,000 each one, so 10 grand. So at that time, oh my gosh, this Southern Grace thing, I'm taking it overboard. Mm-hmm. Like I got $10,000 wrapped up in this product. That's too much overhead. Now I was too naive rather, to know about cash flow and business and how to operate the economics of business. And it was my wife, Megan, and I, and we had all these liquors on the wall because I was too ignorant or naive to know that you can't carry business that much overhead. Mm-hmm. So for one bottle on the wall, there would be 11 in the back in storage. That's overhead. So I got about 144 bottles of bourbon on the wall. Now, I'd said Mexican spirits. I think we're probably more popular for that. I had all the good tequilas. I had the Del Maguey Mezcal. This is going to sound like BS, but we were probably one of the handful of bars in the United States that had all the Del Maguey bottles. Ron Cooper had put out. And I say that because I know these other bars that had Del Maguey and Ron Cooper that know Ron and I know where he puts his product, and we had all of it. So there couldn't have been that many of them. So anyway, we had Mexican spirits, and then we had gin, and then we had a lot of vodka, and then liqueurs, and all these different beers, so that whomever came in the bar, I wanted to be able to serve them from A to Z. I didn't want to pigeonhole myself to serve L to T. I wanted A to Z. Mm-hmm. So if someone wanted a High Life, we got it. And I had these little brown bags. You could put the High Life in a brown bag and serve it. I used to get the Chapel Hill tire guys, the mechanics. They used to come down after work at 5. They would come down and get a beer, and they would drink Budweisers. And I loved serving them. There were about 6 of them, and they would have probably 5 buds before they headed home to their families. And they would come. They were so cool, and it would smell like gas and oil, in the bar. And they didn't come every day, but they came 3 times a week. Well, one day I had Dale DeGroff come to the bar, and we were doing an event with Dale DeGroff. I went to pick him up, and we got to the bar, and I was embarrassed. I was a little ashamed. I said, because Dale DeGroff is the person that started the cocktail culture. He individually, single-handedly started the cocktail culture at this place in New York. Eine used to work with him.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Very cool.
Something on the World or something.
Windows on the World.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dale or John Bloom, whoever owned the restaurant, when he wanted to open that place, Windows of the World, he wanted a cocktail program that offered pre-prohibition drinks, these old drinks from the golden age of cocktails, from 1840 to 1940, 100 years span of different drinks. Now, back then, the internet didn't cover all those things. So Dale had to go and look at old books and learn how to make these old drinks, and then how to make all the mixers and all that stuff. So Dale single-handedly, I think, started the cocktail renaissance that started back in like 1998 or so. And my bar opens 10 years later in 2008. So I had Dale at the bar, and it smells like motor oil. And I said, Dale, these guys come every day. I love having them. I feel like every bar should have them. We're really a cocktail bar, but they come and drink Bud Can. He said, oh, no, Gary. I don't know if you've ever talked to him, but he talks like a movie star. Oh, Gary. No, that's fine. Of course. You've got to have, bars need to serve everybody. It's the people in bars that make bars great. It's not what you drink. It's the people. So I said, well, thank you for understanding, because that's what I was thinking too.
So you talked about Dale and his experience coming in your bar, and kind of the way that he helped shape your mentality around the bar.
Yeah.
It sounded like you thought about it very similarly in that the people are the most important thing.
It's the people. People don't go to bars. I've consulted Tennessee, Georgia, South Carolina, and I would consult for wealthy people that were, building restaurants, and they would spend $200,000 on the equipment, but not pay, $7 an hour to the bartenders. And people don't come to the bars for the equipment; they come for the staff, the people. I mean, we know, just like when we choose our friends group, it's quality,
Right.
And it's the people that make things the way they are. Even here, like with your production, Pablo's great.
He is.
Everything. It's all about the people, and if all this nice equipment's here, but it's the people that make it nice. So I hope I'm a good guest.
You're a great guest, Gary. Speaking of people, so if you haven't been to the Crunkleton, this is why you come to the Crunkleton. It's because of people like Gary and the people that he hires on his team that think about the hospitality first and who think about how they treat their guests first. And having Budweiser, even when maybe you're perceived as some fancy cocktail bar.
Right.
What's it been like for you to get to meet these people, to interact with these people?
Well, you mean the guest?
The guests, yeah.
It's the best part about it, and I didn't even anticipate it. I didn't expect that. I didn't know at this time. I didn't know it was the people. I thought I wanted to build a bar that served everybody, and I like talking to people, and I like sharing things with people. You and I, our friendship seemed to blossom while I was going through a tough time, and I shared that with you, and that to me that makes me feel closer to you. The intimacy part. So I didn't know that was going to be such an important part. I built the bar around this wall of liquor, like the wall of sound from the Grateful Dead, this wall of liquor, and then this arts and crafts stuff, mission style furniture from 1908. This thing that I hit on with hospitality has to do with vulnerability and intimacy. My father passed away 12 years ago, and I had to work the bar. I had to bartend. I'm not bartending much anymore. I have 3 kids and a wife and stuff, but back then 12 years ago, I bartended. I had shifts, and I had to go up to the bar because it was a business, and I had to pay the bills. So I get in there. I didn't want to be there. My father had just passed, and a guy comes in. And he's sitting at the bar, and he said, "How are things going?" I said, "Well, things are pretty shitty. My dad just passed away, and I thought I'd be cool with it, but I'm not. And now I got to work the bar." And he said, "I hear you." His father had just passed away. So right then, we're talking about, we built a connection,
Sure.
About the vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
And that connection creates power. And then that guy started coming in. He became a regular. He doesn't come in anymore, but back then he would come in regularly. So I had figured out, and that was nice, that whole interaction. It was based on something that was negative, like my father passing, but it created a gift, that how I was able to get along with this guy. So when we went down to Charlotte to open in Charlotte in 2015, I talked about this kind of hospitality that I want to have, where normally in our business, I don't want to put y'all to sleep. People are probably sleeping now, but in our business, if you're a staff, if you're a waiter or server or bartender, the manager will say, or the owner will say, "Leave all your personal shit at the door." As soon as you walk in that door, the guests don't want to hear it. I don't say that. I was like, yeah, the guests are just like us. They're just like us. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create connections with the guest, so they're not the audience, and it's not like a transaction. Like we're serving food to this audience or to this group or customer, we call them guests, and then it's transactional. What I'm trying to do is use vulnerability and a human connection to make this audience participants in the restaurant, so that when they get their bill, they don't say, "Oh my God, how much did they get us for this time?" Right. They say, "This is a pleasure. Let me sign this thing and let me give you a tip. Thank you very much." And that's what our style of hospitality is. Now, the amazing thing is, even as difficult as it is for me to explain it, I've said this to our leadership in Charlotte, and now they go out and so it's like second or third generation. You know, and now they go out and train that way,
Right.
so that the manager now, the GM Jordan, trains his staff about vulnerability and about how we want the guest to be participants and conceptualize participation, and we're all one, versus transactional, where it's the servers and they're the guests. I hope that makes sense.
It does make sense, Gary.
I hope it makes sense. I don't know why more people don't do it.
I'm extremely grateful for the culture that you've built at your bar and at your restaurants, because it wasn't too long ago that I signed one of those bills, and I think most people would have looked at the number on that bill and been like,
Yeah.
holy
It's
smokes,
expensive.
what is that?
Yeah.
But I too was very excited and honored to sign it because of the experience that I had, because of the way that you've trained your staff and the way that I'm treated when I'm in one of your establishments. I mean, that's the feeling, that feeling of connection
Yeah.
is something that we're all looking for,
Yeah, we're all looking for
and
it.
you only get it through vulnerability.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now that we're getting into what I feel like is kind of the good stuff here,
Yeah.
if you had to share this 1998 Chateau Moussard with someone other than me, past or present, who would you want to share this bottle with, and why?
Oh, this is easy. My wife, the woman I love, my wife.
Love that. Love that. I mean, and I,
Thank you, Marcus. I would love to.
So-
and
so glad I
she
could
doesn't
help.
have to dress up or anything. Just be you. Just be you, sweetie. Just be you, and we'll enjoy this wine together.
have you had one of the other, because you said you bought a case of this.
Yeah.
Have you had some old wines
No, I
like this
haven't.
with Megan before?
No,
Is she a big wine fan? You said California wines. Does she like?
she doesn't like California. No.
Oh, she doesn't
You know,
like
we
California.
honeymooned in
That's right.
Italy. We honeymooned in Italy, and you know, the best wine we had was in Siena at a restaurant, the table wine. You know what I mean? It's a honeymoon.
Yeah.
And that emotional part that's involved with wine or any drinks, it's a big factor, big element. So we had this. We were in San Gimignano, I think, and we had this Vinsanto, a dessert wine,
Okay.
and it was in a little 375 bottle, and we loved it. It was special for us. And I thought, oh my God, we're in Italy, San Gimignano, at the Collegietta Hotel. I think that's what it was. And let's get some of these and take them home. So they're in my luggage, and I'm, you know, huffing them around. Man, we get home, and I Google it to check it out. Half cup, you know, in Carborough.
Mm-hmm.
What, you know,
Half past full, yeah.
they had it there for like $11 a bottle.
But that moment that you were there, the wine that you had.
Oh, it's the
on
best.
your-
Yeah. Vinsanto.
You're known as, I don't know, bourbon guy of the South.
Yes. No one knows that. In the heavyweight division.
In the heavyweight division.
Yeah, heavyweight division. People have pigeonholed me to bourbon.
Right. Okay, so I want to open the box.
Okay.
Talk to me about what you see are similarities between spirits and wine.
And wine. The flavors. That's it. That's the similarities. The flavor, the palate. And we're drinking this wine, and we're tasting new things each time.
Right.
Bourbon
Same thing
does the same.
happens with-
Bourbon does the same. Now, bourbon will give me maybe 5 to 7, maybe 10 different flavor profiles. Scotch whiskey will give me 20, different things. Now, do I know what to call the nomenclature for each one? I don't know.
Right.
But the complexity and the robustness of all that, it's there still, even if I don't know what to call it. Yeah, wine's nice. I like wine. I don't know much about it. I know in the business end of it, we have to have some lower price wine and we have to have some high end wine.
Mm-hmm.
Guests want that. They want that choice, and you have to have stuff in the middle. I know that wine is like a BMW. We had far more superior wine at the Crunkleton, but Orange Swift was what everybody wanted. That machete.
I mean, I like
It's
Orange
good.
Swift.
It's
I
good.
like Orange Swift.
It's good. It's good wine, and the labels are cool.
Great artwork.
I have some at the house where there's a woman with a big fro, and I think she's like
Yes.
sitting on a car or something
Yes,
like that.
she is. She's sitting on a
I don't know
Cadillac.
if I haven't opened it, but
That's a good one.
yeah, they're good. You can have better stuff, but the guests are still going for. God, I'm just thinking about it. It's like this in bourbon, because I have a ton of great bourbon at the bar,
They may want something.
and they want the Pappy Van Winkle, or they want
Oh.
the E.H. Taylor.
Oh, the real good stuff. Oh, is it
It
not?
has the cash.
Oh,
No.
see, I even
And
thought-
there's this stuff like there's this bourbons I have, the Wathans Medley Distillery, Charles Medley Distillery. They're the best bourbons no one's ever heard of, and they're cheap. But I have this redemption at the bar now. A friend of mine had started Redemption. He has a great palate, and Dave Schmier, and he would pick the barrels for Redemption because they sourced them. They don't have their own distillery, and then they sold the company to some big company, and now they do their own thing. Dave has started a new brand, a new label, but all that stuff that Dave chose is delicious. It's delicious, and it's for rye whiskey. It's the best rye whiskey we have in the house in Chapel Hill. But anyway,
What about your house champagne?
oh gosh, well we used to have, thanks to Marcus. Is it Ginyard or Ginyard?
You know, it's
I've heard both.
yeah, I have too actually, and I've heard it so many different ways right now. It doesn't bother me, but I'm glad that you brought that up. Ginyard.
Ginyard. Yeah.
Yeah, just as of today, certainly by the time this episode comes out, I will be the founder of Ginyard's Vineyards, a wine consulting business. Yeah,
Really?
absolutely. And you got
Slow down,
and you
man.
got some of my wine consulting services for free, my friend. Would you
Yeah.
like to continue telling the story?
So yes, thank you. We had a champagne.
You don't have to say the name.
Okay, but it's like the Budweiser of champagne.
Okay.
So Marcus says, if I get you this bottle, long French ass name, and Heidsieck doesn't even sound French. It sounds German.
Isaac does. Yeah, I agree.
But I'm not going to say the comment I made. And then but I had a nerve. And then you came back and said, well, why do you have all this shitty wine? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Was it? I didn't say that, did I?
You said something like, you didn't say shitty one. That's what I heard. You probably said something
Yeah, that's what you
like
heard.
not sophisticated or something really educated.
But to your point earlier, you've got
Great
something,
spirits.
You've got great spirits.
Yeah, great cocktails.
And you want something for everybody.
Right.
And what I wanted for the Crunkleton, because I care so deeply for it,
yeah.
is that I just wanted everything
Quality
else to
wine.
also be at an elevated.
Right. So Marcus approaches us about champagne, and it's with a rep that we don't use. And he brings the guy. What does he do?
Philippe.
What's Philippe do?
Philippe,
Is it his vineyard?
he works for Charles Heidsieck. Works for Folio Fine Wines that owns Charles Heidsieck, and he's their kind of U.S. head.
So he comes down
Yeah.
to Chapel Hill, and we do a tasting, and we get it. We get it. So now we have, and there's one lady that comes in and specifically asks for the Marcus Ginyard champagne.
I'm glad you did it. I think it's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, it's cool.
Charles
It's
Heidsieck
cool.
champagne.
I think your fingerprints are on the wine program in Chapel Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's talk about this stuff again,
Please.
because we're getting to the bottom of the bottle.
Yep.
And I assume this show lasts as long as the bottles last.
Yeah, it depends.
It's gotten better.
I agree.
Do you think we should have decanted it?
And
what would it like? I know what it would have done if we decanted it.
my personal opinion is with a wine like this, and Pablo, our producer, we actually talked about this because we thought about opening it before we started.
Yeah.
We always open on the show, but we thought maybe we open this before. Maybe we decant it.
So it airs.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
when you got something this old, you don't want to get too much air. You can't take air out of it once you put it in. And so if you decant it and we're sitting here for an hour and then it gets over the hill on us, it's an
Yeah.
older wine, it's got a lot of air in it, and now it starts to, kind of decline. We can't backtrack. And so
Yeah.
that's why we decided to open it and just leave
Go
it in the
with it.
bottle. Let it kind of naturally open up a little bit. Gary, you have 3 restaurants right now.
Yeah.
Well, 3
Three
establishments. 3 establishments. You have 1 bar in Chapel Hill.
Yeah.
You've got a restaurant in Charlotte. You got a restaurant in Raleigh. Congratulations. I know it's not like, wasn't yesterday, but new as of this year, end of last year.
Raleigh is this year.
Okay. So you got a new.
Then there's 2 more restaurants. We have a Mexican restaurant and a wine bar restaurant
In Charlotte.
Rosemont and Puerta.
So you're doing all the things right now.
A lot going on, yeah. A lot going on.
You got anything new out there on the horizon? Anything exciting you're working on?
So I've been revisiting this book thing. About 5 years ago, I've been asked to write cocktail books. And at the time, we opened in 2008. So in 17 years, 2 times I've been asked once I was asked to write a book about bourbon. And another time I was asked to write a book about Southern cocktails. But anyway, like 5 years ago, I was set up with a ghostwriter to write a book on vulnerability and hospitality.
Wow.
And my insecurities made me think, why would anyone want to read a book that I wrote?
Right.
So now I think I could contribute, like what I was saying earlier about being a participant rather than an audience.
Yeah, an audience, yeah.
I think there's something I could do. So I might reach out I might do that. I might write a book on vulnerability and hospitality and authenticity. I think that's what I would write a book about. I've shared with you, my personal struggles. And when I've done that in the past, it's very common for whomever I'm sharing it with to say, "Oh, Gary, you're so authentic." And that's what people love about you. And I'm finally at a point where I think I take that as a compliment. And I kind of like hug myself because before I would have thought, oh, they're just, blowing smoke or whatever. Authenticity is important. And I'm starting to embrace that.
Sure.
So that's happening. But
cool.
I would love to do something in D.C. The alcohol laws are wide open. You can do whatever you want in D.C. It's a frontier. Here, North Carolina ABC is tough with the laws. But there's ways around it. I mean, not around it. There's ways to work with it, like I was talking about with with special orders. The 25 bourbons that were on the list, and then now we turn that into about 150.
So, can you talk just briefly about that and your hand in rewriting that legislation?
Well, NCABC, which people don't like because they say you can't get product, but you couldn't build the bar that I have if it weren't for NCABC because they'll get whatever you want. Bourbon's getting popular, and it's hard to get the product now. So they sent us memo saying they didn't want to have one place, a depot, that had all the allocated bourbons, so that they needed to spread those out. Pappy Van Winkle was allocated. So what Orange County said to me was, you're done getting Pappy. You've had a good run. You're done. We're going to start spreading it around. Now, anybody could have gotten it. They just didn't order it. And anybody could have gotten whatever bourbon they wanted. They just had to go through the channels to get it coded, which I learned how to do. But anybody could have done that. So I text Julian and I said, there's no more bourbon coming. They're not going to sell me any more bourbon. He said, well, we've had a good run. I'll send you a case each. So he sends me a case each for one last, good time's sake. Comes to Raleigh, goes from Raleigh to Orange. By the time I get it, there's 1 bottle in each case. And the bottles changed. There were 12 bottles a case, then it went to 6 bottles a case, then 3 bottles a case. So they changed over the years. But when this happened in 2015, they were 3 bottle cases or 6 bottle cases. And there was 1 bottle in each case. And I was livid. So I texted Julian and I was like, tell North Carolina, cut North Carolina off. He said, I can't do that. So I'm talking to my wife, Megan, about it. And she says, well, you have to find the next Pappy. So I said, I can't. The Pappy is, the dynamics of the Pappy is there's supply, demand, and marketing. And there's a lot going on that I couldn't do. And she says, well, what's the best bourbon you've ever had? And I said, the best bourbon I've ever had is from 1950. But I can't sell that bourbon because it had everything I get, the bar has to currently be made, and it has to come to the state. So
Has to currently be in production.
yeah, currently made in production.
Yep.
And that's what comes to the state. So there's these people that have these rich people that have these antique cars that had that rusty colored plate that says antique on it. They can't meet the DOT, but they get a waiver. So I get a call one day. This is all 2015. I get a call one day from the Speaker of the House, North Carolina Speaker of the House, one of their representatives saying, this Mr. Speaker would like to have a private tasting with Gary Crunkleton and some guests. They're in town for the NC State Carolina game. Will you do that? So yeah, we'll do it. No problem. I'll do it. I didn't know how to charge them, but I had to charge them. But I didn't know. And Speaker of the House says, Tim Moore says, Gary, if you ever need anything, we're here to help. Just let us know. And I said, well, actually there is. And I had this Prohibition medicinal pint, and I'm passing it around. They're holding it like a baby. They're passing it around. And I said, that bottle, it's illegal for me to have it in here. Like right now, I'm breaking the law. And I guess y'all are breaking the law too by holding it. I don't know, but it's illegal for me to have it. I said, there's these people, these rich people that have these old cars that get waivers. I want to get a waiver for this old liquor so I can sell it to guests, because some of the best bourbon I've ever had was from 1950. This stuff's from 1917, distilled, and it could be earlier than that. But anyway, so that's it. You don't know the date. So Mr. Tim Moore says, Gary, we're going to do this. We're going to call the Crunkleton bill, and we're going to get this done for you. I said, well, thank you. And they're politicians, so I just thought, whatever, it's not going to happen. And then Easter of that year, I get a phone call, and they say, we're going to do it. What do you want it to say? And I wrote the outline, and there were about 10 things in there that I wanted. And I cut it down to 6 because I thought I was being greedy. And then they wrote the bill. And it was House Bill 901 or 909 or 902 or something like that. So now we get to sell these antique spirits anywhere in North Carolina, as long as you have a permit.
Tell us one thing that you've learned in your life. I mean, you've experienced a lot.
A lot. Yeah.
I mean, what is something that you'd love to share with everybody listening that you've learned that you think could be helpful?
So we all have goodness. I think God's given us this empathy and grace. And I think we need to embrace that stuff and let that define who we are. But more practical than that, we're all in the people business. Even if you worked on computers in a cubicle, we're all in the people business. So it's important that we get along with everybody. We all bleed the same color. We're all the same. People is what it's all about. So I would say to people out there, find your passion and work your passion. And while you're working that, understand that we're all equal. We're all the same. And everybody has something to offer. That's it.
Yeah.
Is that the question?
That is a question.
All right.
And I appreciate that. Gary, thank you for joining us on Wine with Friends. Thank you for not only supporting Wine with Friends, but being a great friend.
Yeah.
And really helping us highlight and showcase, you mentioned it, vulnerability, the hospitality that you've always shown me and my friends and my family, the authenticity that you talked about, and just helping us highlight the connection that we've built largely through wine.
Thank you.